I didn't do it. Let's get into this movie discussion on I Didn't Do It, another to be original from the universe of your boy Christopher B. Stokes. Now, if you've been following me, the last review or discussion, I call them discussions, that I did on a to be original by Christopher Stokes, I got on to him because I'm like, look, man, you got to quit with giving us these same endings, all right? I'm just saying, it's getting a little predictable. So I did enjoy the plot twist in this one, right? Because it did keep me guessing until the aha moment, right? So the main character in this is your boy. I'm going to be calling him Esquire because that's where I know him from the most. Esquire from ATL, okay? He is an officer and his daughter went live and showed herself jumping off a cliff. Well, we see her like standing in front of, on this bridge in the water, and she's crying. She's talking about she can't do this anymore. Her mother's deceased and everything. And the last thing we see is her jumping and screaming, and then the live cuts off, right? So while we're still learning about that, I'm watching it and I'm thinking somebody forced her to do it, or it was some kind of blackmail, right? Now, Esquire in this movie is not a very likable character. He seems to be just on edge all the damn time. And you know what? You can tell he's from Cali in real life because that Cali accent, it is so cute to me. Like when guys are from, or guys, girls, whoever, from Southern California, their accent is so like I can definitely tell, like, as I was born in Cali actually myself, and I had family out there, and so I when I hear it, I'm like, oh, you from Southern Cali, but so he's just always like on edge, and his wife just passed, right? So I'm like, I'm giving this character some grace because he's dealing with a deceased wife. He just found out his daughter committed suicide, and so he's spending the movie trying to figure out what happened to her, because he's like, look, something ain't right about this live, because somebody, after she jumped, somebody cut the phone off. Who cut the phone off? So we go down this rabbit hole of all these things. He goes to her friend's house, and the friend's like, well, we haven't been cool in a while. And he's like, what you mean? You picked her up the day before last, and she's supposed to have spent the night over here. And her friend's like, no, she didn't spend the night over here. I just picked her up, blah, blah, blah. So it's like she's estranged from her friend. She's supposed to be seeing this guy. Esquire runs up on him, and he's like, look, I don't know what you're talking about. We're not together no more. And this is the part that I was tripping off of this. While he's talking to the ex-boyfriend, the new girlfriend's like, hey, you straight? And it's like, girl, if he wasn't straight, what are you going to do against a grown-ass man? That part, like, I mean, and what is he going to do? Like, no, I'm not, baby. Can you help me? Like, what? Girl, if you don't sit down. Look. Anyway, so Esquire's like, oh, I see you moved on pretty fast, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, I forgot the daughter's name. She wasn't herself. She hasn't been herself for a while. Just let us know when the funeral is. I'll let everybody at school know. We'll show up. And in the meantime, him and his cop buddies, they're like, okay, they're going through her stuff, going through her phone. seeing that she's being followed by this hooded figure. I also like to add your boy Wesley Jonathan, and if that name isn't familiar, Wesley Jonathan. He played in he's one of those black actors where you may not know his name, but his face, you know it as soon as you see it. Like he was in Roll Bounce. He was in he was on Sister Sister a few episodes. He does a lot of guest starring. He was in this show called City Guys. This is a throwback. I don't know if y'all remember, but there's a show called City Guys. I think it came on from like 97 to like 01, 02. He was one of the main characters in that. So Wesley Jonathan plays like his boss, and he's trying to keep Esquire under wraps because he's really not the fact that this case involves his daughter. He's really not supposed to be involved, I think, right? So as he's going back and forth and we're putting the pieces together, he was messing with his daughter's friend's mom. And he was like, yeah, she came over one day to give my daughter her coat that she left, but she just used that as an excuse to try to get with me. So the daughter saw them kissing at the door or whatever. And, she looks disgusted. She walks off. Something that I think I guess it's foreshadowing. It's called foreshadowing. Because I watched this movie twice. I like to watch movies twice when I discuss them because I like to see if I missed something the first time. So something I did notice the first time though was the camera zoomed in on Esquire making this drink. So I'm like, that probably means something later. Well, we're going to get to that in a minute. So all the way until the end, they think for a while we think she's died, right? That she jumped. Well, they found this damn dummy in the river and not her body or lake, whatever the hell, pond, whatever, pool. So they get this other video where she's talking, crying. She's alive, right? Of course. And she says this Discord name. I'm not familiar with Discord, so don't ask me nothing about that. But she said this name at the end right before the phone was snatched away. So I'm like, okay, she's alive. So now I'm watching and I'm thinking, all right, so what could this mean? It's got to be something, right? All the way to the end where we find out he goes to this abandoned building because they're in her phone and stuff. Now this is the part I'm gonna get to that in a second, the part that I didn't get. Okay, so when he gets to this abandoned building, he gets knocked over the head, right? Knocked out. He wakes up, he's tied up in a chair. He sees these masked figures, right? They pull off their masks. Is his daughter's ex-boyfriend, the new girlfriend, and then wasn't it somebody else? I'm trying to think. It was some other dude, wasn't it? Hell, I don't remember. Anyway. And he's like, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And then guess who comes out? Boom, his daughter. I also like to add, we find out later that that's his stepdaughter. That makes a difference sometimes. So now I feel like this scene lasted too long when she was going over how she found out that he was the one that was actually poisoning her mother. Backtrack to the foreshadowing when the camera zoomed in on when he was making that drink. And so then the scene where he tried to give her something to drink or something to eat and she shook her head no. She had seen that he was looking up. This is so stupid though. cyanide and arsenic on computer. Now, why the hell in 2026 would you look up some shit like that? If you're going to look up some poison, at least, I don't know, man, go to the library. I mean, they can track you there too, but it's not as easy as going on your own personal laptop to look up some damn poison. So she basically came up with this plan because she felt like after he killed her mother that she was coming for him because he was doing it for insurance policy. I don't see how you could do that. Like, it's one thing. I would rather you just put one in my brain. You know what I'm saying? Put a bullet in my head than to poison me and me just torture me to death for weeks on it. Like, that's a special kind of evil. And I know this is a movie we're talking about, but you got people that have done that in real life. I'm telling you, go on the ID channel and pick a show, and you'll see about a woman that done sit there and poison her husband, and he's sick and throwing up and diarrhea and fever and all this stuff for weeks, sometimes months, until he finally died. That's way past cold blooded. But anyway, I thought this was, I like how this young lady came up with this plan to not only keep herself safe, but to blow up his spot and get him locked up, right, for murdering her mom and maybe attempting murdering her. But back to when I was saying the part that I thought was kind of dumb. She went live while she was exposing her father, right, while he was tied up in his chair and talking about how she went over things, and he was, he eventually was, admitting to it, right? The whole time, the Wesley Jonathan character, the lady cop, they were watching alive, and they were just watching, and it's like, why don't y'all need to be going and finding where he is, don't you? Instead of watching this stuff, like, what is going on? But I guess they had to watch. But yeah, if I could change something, I felt like that scene was drawn out way too long, about her going over, yeah, I saw you look up the poison. When you kissed that lady, I knew blah, blah, blah. It was just, I feel like that went on too long. Like, all right, we get it. He's the bad guy. He's the villain. You busted. Like, that could have been shortened. But yeah, at least it wasn't super predictable. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. If you've seen this, I'm pretty sure you have if you've watched the discussion this far. Were you expecting the daughter to be in on the mastermind of the whole thing? Where was your mind going up until the end? Let me know, all right? Shout out to my subbies. Shout out to the rest of you who are not subscribed, but you know you can by hitting that button for me. I very much appreciate it. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Y'all help me out, all right? Peace and blessings to every last one of you watching. Until next time.